I thought for sure that it was premature. But I was like, you know what? I don't want them to run out of space, so I just did it. And they were jamming, and then I went away, and I came back, and they were coating the front of here, and I didn't know what to do. So.
What you've learned by doing what you've done so far. At least you've learned about bees in general.
Oh, huge. I don't have any regrets. I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like the negligent freaking beekeeper. Like, I'm so used to being negligent. That's why I like trees. Like, I do trees. I don't do farm animals. I only have 2 chickens left because of that. So the idea of having to, like, you know, take care of anyone who can't just freaking take care of themselves. And I like the top bar thing too, because you just kind of keep adding a stick for them to build on, but they kind of do their own thing. It sounds like a better system for the negligent amongst us. The people who love bees but don't want to take care of them particularly.
The thing is, with a top bar hive, you still have to make sure that they draw the comb straight. So you do have
if you're just going to destroy it when you harvest the honey anyway?
Well, because you do still need to go in and check it out. Like, if you're just going to have a top bar hive, and all you care about is honey and just leaving them to let them do whatever they want to do, they will. But does that mean, again, they're going to make it through the winter? So there's certain things that you have to do so that they'll make it through the winter, if that's what your goal is. If your goal is to buy bees every year, yeah, then you can let them go.
Sticky. Oh, it's not that heavy at all, which is not great.
Okay, so one thing that we're seeing here in your hive is you have a green frame.
I have actually a green and 2 blacks because I didn't have, when I put this extra one on, I didn't actually have more wooden ones ready. Because I had to dismantle the broken ones from the bear. I don't want to put a bee in my pocket by accident.
Okay, you've got a queen.
Bees drowning in their own honey?
Yeah, I know. They'll eat it up, though. You've got a queen because this side's got brood. Does your side have brood? Yeah, that's nice.
All right.
Okay, so you've got a queen, which is good. And now what we'd like to see...
her here?
Nope. But we see brood. We see capped brood. So yeah, you do have eggs in there, so this is great. Let's just take a look on that one, both sides again, and see if the queen is in there. By now, she's probably gone down to the bottom of the hive.
All right. I am notoriously bad at finding the queen.
I don't think she's on here anyway.
Yeah, I only saw her one time. The thing, that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if I have any right to be keeping bees.
Oh no.
Because I see patterns in the world, but like I'm not, and of course I see these patterns, but seriously, I've read the books. I just can't figure out what I'm seeing.
So you will. What I want you to do is you're going to blow on this, and let's see what's underneath all those bees. Okay. See how there's lots of brood that's capped all in one pack? And then there's some little spaces.
Where? You mean over here on the right?
Right in front of you. See all that capped brood right in front of you?
Oh,
all
yeah.
those,
okay.
that's all capped brood.
All right, yeah.
So what you want to see is as few little open spots as you can.
Right.
This looks pretty good because your queen is laying pretty much wall to wall. You have honey up in the corners. You probably have some pollen in between. And this is what a textbook frame should look like.
Okay.
Okay. So this is looking pretty good. And Nancy's looking and we're looking. All of us are looking for the queen right now. So if you blow again, and when you blow gently, like a wind, like a breeze, not a wind. And see, you've got some really nice brood there.
Okay.
Some capped brood. So, yeah, really nice. And all the bees are doing their job. So you have the frame upside down right now, if anybody is wondering. And so you've got the honey is down here, which is actually the top. And then you've got the brood in here.
And is that kind of what they usually want to do?
Yep. And then you can see right here, there's also pollen right there. See how see the orange?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's all pollen. So that's what you usually have, is you usually have brood here, then pollen, and then honey on the outside. So the honey on the outside is kind of like an insulator, and that's what they're going to need for the winter.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
See, like now that you've been a beekeeper for a couple of years, now you kind of understand what we're talking about, because like when you started, you probably had no clue. And then, you know, the more you do it and the more you go into your hive, I'm not saying that you want to go into your hive all the time.
Right.
But the more you go into your hive, the more you're going to learn. Because there's different times of year that they do different things.
See, this is why everybody needs a bee babysitter for
Or a
like the
mentor.
first 5
A
years.
babysitter. That's why we follow Jody everywhere.
At home. See,
How many?
that's the thing. It's like being a midwife. You need to follow another midwife.
That's
Right.
Get it?
Yes.
Because like me going into the hive and looking is great, but if I don't know what the hell I'm looking at,
Exactly.
and, you know, and I don't.
And
work
what's
well from
what's
books.
right today
So
may
what's
not be right
what's-
tomorrow.
Is that just super dark honey?
This is the time of the year when it's going to be a little darker. The other thing is you've got comb that they've probably laid babies in before, so it just looks a little
Oh, so it
darker.
looks
So it may
darker.
not be as dark as you think it is.
Okay.
But you know, these guys are looking good right now because what I'm happy to see is that they actually have honey.
Right.
And I've been into hives in the last few days that had no honey at all. And they definitely needed to be fed. Your bees are looking good, and I don't really think that they need to be fed right now. So what we're going to do is let's go into the next frame. And as I said before, we may not even find your queen today because she
know
may go
she's
down to
there.
the bottom box because she hears us.
And are we not going in the bottom box?
No, we can go into the bottom box. Whatever you want to do today is totally fine.
Well, I mean, I feel like I don't.
And we're not going to mess things up. We're just going to take a quick look. That's all.
Right.
What were you going to say, Tanya?
No, I was just going to say that I don't, you know, looking at the top box, I don't know. You know what? Now that you're here, I'm not afraid of messing up anymore.
The other thing is, if you're looking for a marked queen, you might not have one. You might have a.
Well, if they swarmed,
Right.
she would have been the one who left, right?
Yeah.
Just tell me something. What are these bloobs?
Oh, those look like swarm cells, or they could be just cups. We're going to take a look at those right there. Yep. So we're going to take a look at those. If you pull up the frame and look inside of those and see if you can see anything white on the inside of those cups that you just saw there.
Pull up the frame. What do you mean?
Bring it up.
Here, I'll hold it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got it
And
up
look
high
up
enough?
inside.
Oh,
Look up inside. Do you see anything white in there? Ask the bees to draw out some comb.
Okay.
It's late in the season, but we're going through a nectar flow right now of the goldenrod. They may draw out the comb, but then what you're going to need to do is in a couple weeks, like maybe 3 weeks, like the end of August or so, you're going to want to go in and take out any frames that they haven't drawn out, but it could alleviate them swarming. And you don't want your bees to swarm in September.
So I'm going to consolidate the hive.
Exactly. But you're going to need to remember that you need to consolidate the hive, okay?
I won't remember. I'll write myself a note.
I'll send you an email.
You can send me an email.
Okay, so let's go into the hive. We're going to find the queen, and we're going to mark her if we can. These guys look like they're doing fine, and we probably won't reverse them.
Okay.
But we just want to see what do we need to do, and do we also want to see, do we need to help them so that they have space? Right now, what I'm seeing is yes, they need space.
Yeah.
Because if we don't put some frames in, they will decide in a week or two to swarm, and we
So
don't want.
are
them
we
to
talking
swarm.
about stealthing in some empty frames
Yes, we
in
are.
amongst? So you're not talking put an empty box.
No.
You're talking stealthing in
Yeah,
some empty
I'm
frames.
telling them, you know, we're going to mix you up a little bit, and you see that there's a space in between, let's get that filled. And if you guys bring in a bunch of nectar and you want to make honey, you want to make comb, then let's do that.
Right.
What we got to figure out, though, too, is what are we going to do with that third box? You know, are we going to have 4 boxes on? Probably. We'll see. We'll see.
The one where they free
The one that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to do is just have one smoke here. Great. And then just one smoke around the whole thing. Okay.
And you're just chilling them out right now?
Yeah, they didn't even notice that what you said. This looks beautiful. Let's see how heavy it is.
Just because of the activity? I mean,
Okay, this is a little light. Feel that compared to, and then pick up that other hide body. Just feel that.
yeah,
okay.
this is why
Now-
I didn't want to put the second one on back when I put it on because
You're okay.
this was so light.
That's okay, but feel how heavy that one is, and it doesn't have,
not
it only
even
has
full.
8 frames.
Oh my god.
Okay? So what we may do is we may reverse, unless the queen is doing exactly what we want to see her do, and she is laying eggs down here. Okay?
Okay.
If eggs are going to weigh a lot less than honey is.
Right.
So she may have everything that she needs right here.
Okay.
So we'll see. What we may do is we'll probably take 3 or 4 frames and put them in here, in this level. We'll take another 3 or 4 frames, put them in the next level, and then we'll, you know, mix everything up a little bit.
Keep checking to make sure there isn't a bee on the end of my tool before I stick it in my pocket.
I know.
This is super
You'll
light.
learn someday. You'll be able to hold your frame and hold your
Tool at the same
tool
time.
at the same time. Kind of hang in there. You got so many bees in here. This is cool. Okay. So I'm gonna look.
So do you think they
look
swarmed?
Or no? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. They look really healthy. What you have on this frame? What do you see on that frame?
I see.
Very colorful.
Yeah, it is colorful.
So you have a lot of pollen on that frame.
Okay.
That's beautiful. The pollen is to feed the babies. Right now they're bringing in a lot of pollen from the goldenrod.
Yep.
And so they're packing it in. That's another thing. You don't want to get pollen bound or honey bound. So that's why we're going to put frames in. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give this to Nancy. She's going to glance it over. She's going to look for the queen. And then we're going to put this in the other box that we're building so that we're going to give these guys space.
That's
so
underneath the empty?
No,
oh,
right.
No.
We're going to build this one right here.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. So take a glance at this. See if you find the queen. And then I'll take it. And then Nancy will take it. And we're just on a mission.
Looking for her ladiness.
Right.
Looking for a lady. Looking for a lady.
Thank goodness you can sing.
I want you to, you always want to have, see how bright it is when you have your
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to the sun?
I do.
Yeah. Not that you could be very close. So keep it right over your hive body so that, this is nice. There's no chalk brood. This is awesome. There's no problem with ventilation here.
Well, that's good because I haven't been able to open it for them.
No, this is, you know what, sometimes, I mean, bees know what they're doing. It's not like they need us.
no, I know. That's
We're
what
just
that's what
here
I originally
to-
liked about them. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my perfect kind of friends because they don't need me.
And Tanya, your hive is beautiful.
I'm
You
so
have nothing
psyched.
to worry about.
That's so
And I'm
great.
not saying, I can't say I can predict the future and your hive is going to make it through the winter, but honestly, this is the size that I would like to see.
Okay.
I would like to see this many bees in a hive, laying eggs where I'm seeing the eggs, having honey on the second floor. It's all good.
I got her.
You do.
Yep.
You go, girl.
It's marked
Excellent. So she
Oh,
didn't
so
swarm.
they didn't swarm.
Awesome.
Where do you see her?
right on the top of the
Oh
frame.
yeah, look at that.
See how she just keeps moving?
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
She
Wow.
doesn't pause, she just keeps
Yep,
moving.
yep.
That's what I look for, but I did find her really good.
And what did you get? Is this a package from Hillside?
This.
It looks like a carniolan.
Yeah, it is carniolan.
Okay. Yep.
And it was a package from
Look, see, she's
Hillside.
laying an egg right now.
Isn't that awesome?
So cool.
Let me get my camera.
I don't want to squish you.
Nancy, you did it again.
I know,
You found that queen. Awesome.
So she was on the inside of this frame when you put it
Yep.
down in?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what's going to get these empty frames popping in here is what's going to give them this sense of like, you don't
A
need
little
to
bit more
swarm.
space.
You
right.
got plenty
No,
of
you
room.
guys, you girls are just great. You don't want to do anything. And, you know, we'll see what happens in 2 to 3 weeks on how much they're able to draw out. Maybe they won't draw any at all.
But at least
the
they'll have
chance
the sense of
that they
having
will
room.
is pretty great. Now, I wouldn't usually want to be putting 3 deeps on, but that's what you've got for frames, so it's not like we can manipulate with any mediums or anything like
Well,
that.
I have.
No, but you
They're
can't,
not ready.
But you can't because you can't mix a medium frame here
Oh, I see
with a
what you're
deep frame
saying.
here.
Right, of course.
So yeah. Okay, so now what we're going to do, because we know that things are looking good here, we're going to put that second box on and maybe take a few frames out of there. So every layer has, this one has 4 new frames.
Okay.
This one here has 4 new frames.
Okay.
So every place that we go, there's a few new frames, not everything. And we didn't put any of them right next to each other.
Yep.
So it's cool. All right, so I'm going to just blow on these guys a
And
little
they're
bit.
not going to change. I'm going to. Okay.
this out too, because you don't want that there. Isn't that cool that you saw your queen and she's still there?
I'm so freaking psyched. I liked her the second I saw her this spring.
You know, I wonder sometimes also, you know, like when they go through the dearth, the queen stops laying sometimes too. So sometimes that's what you think is, you know, they're slowing down, they're not doing what they're doing. I don't see any eggs because the queen stopped, because she didn't have any food to give to anybody that needed it. So now that we've got, again, 2 frames, so every level that we've done so far, we kind of did the same thing. So the ones that have the empties are pretty much right above each other. It just happened that way.
Right.
But what we did is we wanted the outsides to be filled.
Oh,
Then we had an empty, then filled, empty, 2 filled, empty, and then we're going to put a filled one. We're going to take one from the edge.
And you want the outside filled because they tend to want to work the middle more.
Well, that, but also the outside usually has honey on it.
So that's
so
insulation?
it's kind of a good insulator.
Right, okay.
For the bees for the winter. So here's a frame that was on the second level. This one here has a good amount of honey on it, but it's kind of ugly. Look at how they've got it like wavy.
Yeah.
So we're going to put that against the wall because this side they haven't really drawn out, but they can.
Okay.
So we're going to put this against the wall.
I got it for insulation and
Yep.
then let them do their thing.
And
with the
you're
rest
at
of
it. Yeah.
Got
See,
it.
you know more than you think you know. Now we're going to take all of these
When
frames
you're
and push
here.
them together. Take all the frames and push them together. And then we're going to put that other box back on. And now what we're going to have is we're going to have brood.
So I want to leave my gaps on the outside?
Yeah. And that what will happen is when they draw the comb out on these, they will naturally just push out.
Right.
Yeah. We don't want to leave a green frame, one of these green frames.
Yep.
We never want to put this in and leave it in there because this is supposed to be for growing drones, which I have very bad luck with this. I never ever have a frame that they draw
the green
drones.
ones are different from the black ones?
The green ones are supposed to see how much bigger the
You know,
cell size is?
Yeah, I do see that.
That's supposed to be for drones. But hey, if they want to put honey on them, I'm happy to
Go
see them
for
bring
it.
in honey.
So they won't put, so we're not going to use that?
No, we are because we need to.
Because we need to. I could build
But
another, I mean, I could replace it.
If you want to come back out and replace it, that'll be fine.
But then they won't have their honey that they
What you'll
need.
do is scrape this off, put it away from your hive, and they'll go take it. Some pollinators, either these guys or some other pollinators will take
I wouldn't
it.
want to put that just on the like next to where I'm feeding them.
You don't want to encourage robbing, especially at this time of the year. So you want to make sure that if you're feeding them outside the hive, that the food is way a ways away.
Like how
Like
ways away?
over on the other side of the barn, like 25 feet away.
Okay.
And now this one here, what I am going to do though is when we put this hive body on, we're going to use this one because it's going to be pretty. Then you'll have the light yellow, the green, and the...
That was my color scheme. That was my whole
So we're going to
plan.
put this all back in. This side is what we're going to face out because I really don't want them to draw comb and have them make drone broods there.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this back where I took the other one from. And these guys look great because they're not all over. Okay. And be careful doing what I just did because I had a whole bunch of bees on the outside and I pressed it up against my body and they could have stung me all over my stomach.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's great. Now what we're going to do, now we're going to have 3 deeps high. It's just the way it is. And we have...
You're saying that in the next few weeks, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to look for places that they did not.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think you're going to have anything to worry about. This hive is strong enough. This is honestly, Tanya, this is the perfect, seriously, this is the perfect size hive. I would like to see this hive body be a medium, but this is really perfect. And
a medium, they would put just honey, or do they actually put brood in
we
the
want them
too?
to put honey in the top one. So maybe the queen, as she's starting to slow down, will put mostly brood here. It would be awesome if they would fill this entire thing up with honey. That would be great.
So sticky. You just heard that horrible crunch.
Okay. Okay. Look at all of that. That is just beautiful. And your bees, look at how much we have hardly used the smoker today. It just shows you how little you really do need to use the smoker.
These bees have actually never known smoke, except for from the day at your house when I picked them up, because I never used the smoker.
That's great. That's great.
I kept thinking, like, am I doing the wrong thing, like, by not using the smoker? Is that like, is it just a question of my convenience, or am I actually doing them a service by using the smoker somehow? But I decided my convenience kind of trumped whatever good it might be doing them.
You have good questions there, and as a beginner, everybody wants to use a ton of smoke because they think, oh, my bees are they're gonna be all over me. They really need to be smoked.
Right.
But really, they don't need to be smoked. And you
Well,
want to start.
fear of
You
bees
always
is
want to
not
start
part of
your
my thing.
no. You want to start your smoker because you don't want to kill bees.
Right, so that's what you're going to get them to move away from the edge.
Right.
That was what I was thinking, but I was sort of being super careful with them and just
Yeah.
patient and putting it down carefully and feeling like, I don't know.
No, you did the right thing.
Okay. And I'm just going to lick my glove. Wow, they do nice work. Wow, it's really,
It's sweet, I bet.
it's sweet. It's also like, would you call that citrusy?
You know, that's funny.
Yeah.
We said that the other day.
Martha's
Yeah.
honey was citrusy.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder what that's from. Like, what were they
There's
eating
something
when
out
they
there
made
right
it?
now. All right, so this is what was the third story. And you left your feeder in, which you don't need a feeder right now unless you really want to. And if you want to feed them, that's fine.
It's not a feeder, it's jars.
Right.
I mean, but whatever.
But it's food.
Right.
But they're doing really well. And right now we've come through the dearth. So there's lots of pollen out there now, lots of nectar. It's not as great as it was in the spring, but we're good. So now what you have is fun. And that's what bees do. Isn't that cool?
So cool.
Yeah. So you've actually got a top bar hive.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking, like by default.
What we're going to do is we're going to smoke this, get as many bees off it, and then we're going to give it to you to take some of their bounty.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And we're not going to hurt them at all. So now you're in deconstruction mode.
Deconstructing your lovely, lovely work. Actually, I probably should have just done
So you had 3 bottles of sugar that you were feeding them. When was the last time that you were in this hive to put those sugar water on? 2 months ago?
end of June. Yeah.
Yep. So they were running out of space and they did what bees do.
Cool.
Because we as women improvise. So we do whatever we need to do to make it happen. Okay, Nancy, if you want to get some gloves on, that would be great, because you can kind of be her. Don't do that yet. There you go. Yeah. Nancy's going to help you as your assistant.
Okay.
Surgical nurse.
Yep.
And scrub in. Okay.
Come on, ladies.
And you're going to have a drippy, sweet mess. And we're going to put that cover right back on them after, and then they can clean it up, and they'll be happy with that.
Get over this corner because we're going to drown the bees in our honey.
You know that's.
What a terrible way to go.
Okay, I'm gonna try this. What do you think?
I say go, but just be careful. Don't hit the wax on the hive. Yeah. Tip it upside down. Do it upside down. Yeah. Hold on to the jar.
There you go.
Great. You got most of the bees off. That's great.
Should I just? Should I? Dear Karen.
I'm just going to separate, I think.
Yeah.
Great. So, you're really doing so little that the bees don't even know what you're doing. They just feel like they've gotten displaced, but this is awesome.
Come on, y'all.
Nice. Even putting in those 10 frames, you've still got a lot of bees here.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
They did not go
I have to
away.
say that you have an A+. I'm sorry, I
maybe
have to
that's
give her
what-
that today.
That's what negligence does.
Once in a while, that's not to be followed all the time. Tanya, I'm so happy for you this year.
Thank you.
I really am, because I was very apprehensive of what we were going to find because of what you were saying, but really, this hive looks great. Now, I want you to do a big prayer. I don't know if you're religious, but make sure that that bear does not come by. And ratchet strap this hive, because you do not want to lose it. I'm just telling you.
You're so right.
Yeah,
Bear
you need
has
your
been
other deep,
around.
you need your deep on first.
Oh, you're so right.
That's okay. But so you so do not want to have a bear.
I do not want to have a bear. You are so correct. I have to bring the grass down so that the fence is also more powerful.
Right, and you don't want it to be shortened out.
Right.
Okay, we're pretty good. You might get a couple, but not many.
Great.
I think that was only one.
Great job, ladies. Ta-da.